I'm only taking one step at a time towards healing myself. I had to get out, I found a way out. No more living in pain or misery. It's all about protecting my energy. Keep the negative away from me, because I am just keeping my peace. Cut off everything that no longer was serving me, and I chose to start loving myself. I walk in my purpose, no looking back, I'm only going with it. B.O. standing there, a better version of me. I must say that I'm proud of me. It's not about how you feel, I'm living proof that God is real. So let me show you how to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, cause I came a long way. My journey isn't yet complete, that's what it look like to heal. Damn it, I'm wearing it well, I'm proud of myself. It's nothing to it, you can do it, all you gotta do is just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul. Just fight through it. Create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, create a soul, yeah, yeah.
Welcome to Pain to Purpose podcast, where we have open discussions to heal together as a community. Today, we're on episode 45, and we're talking about facing giants with former NFL player George Visger. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's Visger, but everyone.
Visger.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you came on. I appreciate it. I know you are pretty busy, so thank you again.
You're welcome.
So how was your day today?
Today's been pretty good. It's been crazy lately. Lots of stuff going on today. Actually got some things done. Well, I've been getting things done every day, but then actually got down to the gym just now and came back. And so it's all good. You know, every day I'm vertical is a good day.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. So can you give us a little bit about yourself?
You got about 5 hours, but
5 hours.
So anyway, I'll give you a quick background. So I grew up in Stockton in Northern Cal, and I was the fifth of six kids. Both my older brothers played college football, and as a little skinny Pee Wee Pop Warner kid, my dream was I wanted to be better than them. I wanted to be an oceanographer, and I wanted to be the greatest NFL player to ever live. Those were my goals from seventh grade on. And so I played on a little Pee Wee team, 1970 West Stockton Bear Cubs, and believe it or not, 29-man squad, and 3 of us signed NFL contracts in 1980, which is like millions to one. And our safety was a kid by the name of Vaughn Hayes, went on to a Major League Baseball all-star career. So we had 4 professional athletes on a little 29-man squad. And I remember our first 5 games, we scored something like 251 points for opponents 0. And I was a skinny little, they nicknamed me Clang. I was so knock-kneed when I ran. The coaches said they could hear my knees clang clear across the field. And I was skinny and slow, but I went both ways. I was just a tough kid, very focused, you know. Won a championship 2 years later. Pop Warner, my third year Pop Warner, I suffered probably my most severe concussion of my 12-year plan. I was knocked unconscious in a worthless bowling ring drill they had us run in practice, which no one should run, especially kids. I was hospitalized on that one. only missed 2 games. Went on to play at Amos Alonzo Stagg High School, which was named after the winningest coach in the history of football until I think Bear Bryant broke his record. But Stagg is just immersed in history. I mean, Amos Alonzo Stagg was on the very first All-American team in 1899 with the likes of Pop Warner and all these guys that literally built the game. And so at Stagg, I played with great teams, great players all along the way. We lost a bowl game my junior year. My senior year, we were undefeated. We were ranked 3rd in California behind the co-national champs. And then I was a good student, had a 3.0, and a good ball player. I was All-American in high school, and so I had scholarship offers all over. I attended University of Colorado on a football scholarship. I majored in fisheries biology. So much for being an oceanographer, but I wanted to hunt and fish too. So I went to Colorado where I had mountains and stuff. I mean, as a 17-year-old, those are my choices. Number 1, I wanted to be able to hunt and fish. 2, I wanted a good football program. And 3, I wanted a good biology program.
Okay.
So immediately the USC, UCLA, big cities, I'm like, not even interested. So I went to Colorado, one of the greatest decisions of my life. The guys I met there literally to this day are my brothers. I could get into that later on, things they've done for me over the years. So I went to Colorado. I had goals. I've always been a goal-oriented kid. So when I went to college, I wanted to make the travel squad my freshman year, which I did. And then I wanted to start my second year, which I did. I wanted to be all Big 8 my junior year. I didn't make that. And I wanted to be All-American my senior year. Didn't make that. But anyway, so go to Colorado. We won the Big 8 championship my freshman year. And we play the old Woody Hayes Ohio State Buckeyes in the 77 Orange Bowl. And then and I had all along the way, I had, a history of concussions, but they were never thought of as serious. They'd call it getting your bell rung, where I've literally played games I don't even remember. We played Oregon my junior or senior year. We played them both years, but one of those years, and again, I don't remember, but I was player of the week. I had my only interception my entire career, a couple of sacks, player of the week, and my best friend's younger brother, who I grew up with, was playing for Oregon, and his parents came out to the game in Boulder, and they were the Cosgroves were like my second family, literally. And I guess I took his folks out after the game. We had dinner. I showed him around Boulder. Years later, when I run into Chris Cosgrove, he's talking about that game, and I said, I don't remember anything. He goes, yeah, you got hit or made a tackle early in the first quarter. You were laid out face down. They came out. They helped you off the field. You came back in a couple series later. And I'm like, really? See, and here's the problem is when you have a concussion like that or not unconscious, you don't know. And you don't remember things because it's just not there. It's not like you go, wow, I don't remember last Wednesday. Until something or someone brings it up to you, it's just not there. I got up 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever it was. I get up in the morning, my wife and I are talking about dinner the night before. This was just Saturday night. And I'm sitting there going, God, what did we do for dinner last night? And she's learned. She won't tell me. It makes me work through it, which helps to strengthen those memories. Mm-hmm. So this was just a couple of days ago. So we get up talking about dinner, and I go, God, where did we go? She goes, think. She starts giving me little ticklers. All of a sudden, I go, oh my gosh. I was speaking at a Ducks Unlimited dinner. It's a big conservation group. Mm-hmm. I donated a signed 49er Super Bowl picture that they auctioned off for $1,100. I had my wife there, and I had one of my old Colorado teammates who suffered a stroke with me about 5 years ago at dinner, literally sitting across from me. Mm-hmm. He's struggling. So rodeo moved out here by me just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And so I had Brian McCabe there with me and my wife. And in the morning, that's all gone until my wife brought it up. But had she not brought it up, that it would have been just
So you couldn't remember anything about it.
Once she starts giving me little ticklers, and if you don't tell me and then you let me think about it real hard, and then once I can pull a little memory out, then a lot of times everything will come flashing back. Not always, but a lot of times. So we have learned over the years to not tell me what I did, let me work through it, and that will actually strengthen memories. When you can pull something out, that will strengthen it, help to solidify it in your brain. So I've learned tricks over the years how to fake my way through life with serious brain damage, and people don't realize it.
Fake your way through?
You know,
they fake it till you make it.
If people knew how brain damaged I was, they wouldn't even be working with me, you know.
But God's been with you, so you're doing amazing.
You know what? I mean, I could go back so many times. So anyway, so we'll go back to, so I played at Colorado, history of concussions, but again, never diagnosed. And then I was drafted by the Jets in 1980. I was a 6th-round pick and got cut in preseason. And then the Niners picked me up, I don't know, like the 4th or 5th game of the season. And I come in, and people don't realize this. After the final cut day in the NFL, it's open season all year long. You have a bad game, you come. So we play games on Sundays. Mondays you go in, it's you get treatment on injuries. There's a few meetings. There's a light workout, break a sweat, and you're gone. And Tuesdays are the days off. Okay. Those are the days they bring guys in from all over and try them out. And then you come to practice on Wednesday. And literally my rookie year in 80, we made something like 26 roster changes after the final cut day. So in a 16-week season, that's every week 1.5 guys were gone, and there's 2 new guys there. Oh, man, Paul had a bad game, and all of a sudden there's somebody they signed, and he's in for a few weeks, and they cut him. It was just a revolving door, and there's no guaranteed contracts. Maybe now there's a few with their big stars, but a contract meant nothing. I mean, you could sign a 10-year, $100 million contract and play 1 game back then, and they cut you. They owed you 1/16 of that first year's salary, and the rest was all garbage on paper. Wow. So, yeah. So that's why guys would push for a big signing bonus and not a big contract, because the bonus you get, you know. Yeah. But, of course, they don't want to give you a big bonus. They want to stretch it out on a contract so it looks good, but they can cut you anytime and you don't get any of it. So they brought me in the 5th game of the season. They had just traded Baltimore for a 4 or 5 year vet. He played 2 weeks. They cut him, bring me in. So I come in on Wednesday, and we're playing the Cowboys on a Saturday. It was a short week. So I only had 1 day of practice, 1 day in pads. They give me this skinny little playbook. They go, just learn the basics. So we're playing Dallas. First play I'm in, first quarter. I'm a defensive tackle. So we're on goal line. I shoot the gap, and I get drilled on what they call a Dallas tight end trap. So they would split the tight end out wide and bring him in motion. So he's got a head of steam going, and then they don't block me. They want the tackle to get upfield, and then this guy's got, 15-yard run, and he blows up the tackle, and there's a big hole. So he drills me right in the temple. I don't remember that game. I don't remember playing the Rams the following week. And a week and a half later, the trainers and doctors laughingly tell me I went through 15 or 20 smelling salts during the Dallas game to keep me on the field. I'd come off the field sideways. They'd give me a couple smelling salts, clear my head, go back in. And it was a joke back then. They used to call it, you had your bell rung. They don't say things like, you had a serious injury to the most important organ in your body, your brain. They made light of it. It was get your bell rung, And so to this day, I still don't even remember those games. And then I came back then the following season, and I think we were like 8-8 that year. We were just kind of mediocre. Mm-hmm. And then 81 season was the year we drafted Ronnie Lott, who's now in the Hall of Fame. We had Eric Wright. We had 3 rookie DBs starting, which was unheard of. And then We brought in Hacksaw Reynolds from the Rams. He was in his 13th season, middle linebacker. And there's a great story with Hacksaw in my book about him wanting to rent the back of my pickup for $25 a month to sleep in. I had a camper shell on it. He didn't want to get an apartment. 13-year vet. The guy was making some coin too, you know. Anyway, there's some great stories in my book. And so I ended up blowing my knee out in mini camp. They misdiagnosed that. Mini camp was like April or May, whenever it was. So between April and May and July, when camp starts, I had my knee blew out probably 3 more times. I'd go down and see the team doc. He'd drain 60, 70 cc's of blood out of it. Second time he's doing this, and I had things drained over the years, and it's pretty common knowledge when the fluid's clear, it's a sprain, and when it's bloody, there's something torn. Well, this was just solid blood. So I'm watching him suck syringefuls of blood out of my knee. And I go, hey, doc, I said, I thought if it's bloody, it's something torn. He goes, yeah, basically true. And I go, what's this? He goes, that's a sprain. This same doc was nicknamed Dr. D for Dr. Doom by the players before I even got there because of his freaking ability to destroy careers with a single surgery. 3 guys from that 81 Super Bowl season, 3 of my 2 teammates successfully won medical malpractice suits against our orthopedic surgeon. They treated us like freaking cattle. So he's telling me there's nothing wrong with my knee. I come back to camp, having a good preseason. I blow my knee out again. Coach Walsh had to tell him to at least do an arthroscopic surgery. They wanted me back. So I go in, because that day's medical records, he wrote, oh, he blew his knee out again today, and diagnosis sprain. So they take me down to Stanford Hospital. It was almost like he said, okay, they want a surgery, I'll give them a surgery. And just that day, he said it was a sprain, till Walsh got in his butt and literally called a meeting with me, Bailing, our trainers, and literally said, do not tell me there's nothing wrong with his knee anymore. We want him back as soon as possible. I want you to at least do an arthroscopic surgery. Mm-hmm. I went for surgery thinking they're going to scope it. I come out of it. He had gone in both sides taken. I didn't know till 4 years later, 5 years later, when I'm battling work comp, that not only did he took all my cartilage out, and what was causing the bleeding, this is common. Now I read up on it. Common symptom of a torn anterior cruciate ligament is blood in the joint. So he didn't repair the torn ACL, took all my cartilage out. I've been bone on bone since 81. And so I'm coming back off of that. I'm on injury reserve now. But all of a sudden we're rolling. We're winning. So, but I'm getting these killer headaches, and every night I get the headaches get so bad I'd start projectile vomiting, which
migraines.
Oh, I mean, I get a ball of light in front of each eye, like a flashlight in front of each eyeball. My hearing would come and go with the beat of my heart. I go see the team docs again. They tell me it's high blood pressure. Now, I'm 22-year-old, prime of my life athlete. So they have me on high blood pressure pills for 2.5 weeks while I was having a brain hemorrhage. Finally, the last night, I mean, I'm getting worse and worse and worse. I'd lose my eyesight at night. And the last night, I had what's called focal point paralysis. We had played Chicago that day, and I'm rooming with 2 guys on the team, Terry Totolo and Scott Stowich. And Terry's another story. You can Google Visger Totolo Channel 13 News. I found Terry living under an underpass in 2012 in Long Beach with no teeth after a 9-year NFL career. You can Google Visger Totolo Channel 13 News.
Okay.
We did a story on him and he had to ask, he looked at the camera, he says, do you think there's anything wrong with me? I mean, and the guy's a great guy. I love Terry to death. Anyway, so I'm getting off track, which I will do. You have to kind of reel me in. So I go see after the focal point. So we played Chicago that day. That's where I was going. And Terry and Scott played. I didn't because I was injured on injury reserve. Had some friends come in from Stockton, which where I grew up was only about 2 hours from San Francisco. And it was a home game. So afterwards, we went out and had a few beers like we did every night. And then 9, 10, 11, man, my head's pounding like it did every single night. And I said, hey guys, I'm going back to the barn. And they go, no, stay out. I said, no, if I stay, man, I'm really feeling. So I go back to our apartment. And the last thing I remember is I'm just been puking, and my hearing's going, my eyesight's going. And they come in at about 2:30 in the morning after the bar's closed. And Terry looks at me and goes, man, he goes, let me take you to the hospital. And again, you got to understand the athlete and warrior mentality. You never admit you're hurt.
Just
I'm
keep
going,
going.
no, I'm like, hey man, I go, it's just high blood pressure. I'm taking these high blood pressure pills and just puking them back up. And then Scott, they keep coming and checking on me. Well, I felt bad because they played a game that day, right?
Mhm.
And 3, 4 in the morning, finally, man, about, I don't know, 4:35 in the morning. I mean, my head is going to explode. I could hardly hear. I can hear in between the beats of my heart.
Mhm.
I can't see. And then my right arm just curls up like a fist up underneath my chest.
Oh no.
In the bed, I'm thinking, man, that's a weird cramp. So I grab it. And as I pull it out, this arm can't feel this hand grabbing it. And I let go and it just curls back up, just really tight and just jammed up under my chin. So now I'm thinking, okay, I'm dying. And I start praying to God. I'm like, please, Lord, do not let me die on, like this. My head's killing me. So I told myself if Scott or Terry came in to wake me up, I'd let them take me to the hospital. But I wasn't going to be a wimp and go wake them up. Again, that's the mentality.
Mhm.
And so finally I pass out at Lord knows when, 5:36 in the morning. We get up about 7:30. I can move my arm again, but I can barely lift a cup of coffee with it. And so the day after games, we go in and it's all the injured players. You get treatment on injuries. The guys that got dinged in the game get treatment. We have a couple of meetings, and then we break a little sweat, and then you're out of there. It's a real light, easy day.
Mhm.
I waited till Dr. Doom, our good old orthopedic surgeon and team doc, saw everybody that got hurt the day before. And in our facilities were at Redwood City, which is, 20, 30 minutes out of San Francisco. And in the locker room, there was a little examining room for the docs, right? So the doc's in there. So I walk in after he saw everyone else. He looks at me and he says, what now? And this is exactly how my book starts. Not this sentence. And I said, don't tell me this high blood pressure. I said, my arm went paralyzed. So he rolls his eyes, tells me to sit down on his table, gets his little retinoscope out, the little light they look in your eye with, This is how my book starts. This sentence right here. He looks in my eye and he says, oh my God, your brain's hemorrhaging. I jump off the table ready to kill him, right? And he's going, no, wait. He goes, oh, and I'm just going off on him, you told me. And he fumbles around behind him. He grabs his phone off his desk and he starts dialing numbers. And I'm still just ranting and raving. He dials a few numbers. He scribbles something on his notepad. And this is where my story turns into a comedy, right? He hands me this note at arm's length, like I'm radioactive. He didn't want to be close to me, right? He goes, here. He goes, go home, lay down, and drive yourself down to Stanford this afternoon to see this doctor. So I'm thinking, oh, man, it must be one of those mild brain hemorrhages where he would have called an ambulance. So I drive back to our apartment in Foster City. My head's killing me. It's getting worse and worse as the day progressed. I drive down to Stanford, see this neurologist. He takes one look at me, and they want to do a CT brain scan, but it was booked up. By now, we're getting late in the afternoon, and the doc goes, yeah, we can't get you in for a couple hours. I said, well, I'll come back. And he looks at me, he says, you drove here?
You shouldn't have been driving.
Oh, he goes, you can't be driving. I said, Doc, I've been driving like this for weeks. And he argues with me and convinces me to sit in a room for 2 hours. They take me in, do a CT brain scan, rush me in, do emergency brain surgery, drill a hole. I had developed what's called hydrocephalus, water on the brain from concussions. They drill a hole in my skull. They run a tube in the middle of my brain. And this is all permanent. And I've had 9 of these over the years. The tube goes in the middle, into the ventricles, in the middle of my brain. It runs back out the skull, under my skin, to the back of my head. I've got about a 10 or 12-inch horseshoe hook scar back there. They installed a permanent pump. From the end of the pump, there's a tube goes on the side of my neck, through my right pectoral muscle, down into my abdomen, and it drains spinal fluid out of my brain 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they do this surgery. I'm in intensive care at Stanford for 14 days. Now, when I had knee surgery early in the season, and I was nobody in the NFL, I was one of those just a blue collar, kid with my knuckles in the dirt, just happy to be playing and helping my family. And that was in the paper when I had knee surgery, right? Now I'm in intensive care 14 days. My 2 roommates, Terry and Scott, are coming in. 0 people from the facilities came to see me other than my 2 roommates. Not even my position coach, which I should have been his guy, right? So Terry and Scott come in, they go.
Nobody from the team.
Nobody, not the docs, not the trainers, not my own position coach, not Coach Walsh, nobody except for Terry and Scott. They come in and tell me, man, Coach Walsh told the team today you had a spinal test done and you're in Stockton at your parents' house recuperating. I'm laying with a tube sticking out of me thinking, what is all this stuff? So I get out of the hospital after 2 weeks. They cut Terry before I get out. He was a 6-year vet. They cut Terry before I get out. And the day I walk into our apartment, Scott Stouch is walking out. Literally, we're crossing each other at the door. He's got his suitcase. I go, where are you going? He goes, they're shipping me to New Orleans. I go, where's T? He goes, oh, they cut him 2 days ago. Only guys that knew what was going on, they're gone. Now, I go back to my folks for a week or 2 to get back on my feet. When I come back to work out, and I'm still on the team, I'm on the injury reserve. I mean, guys are going, man, Visk, what happened? And I said, I had brain surgery. I mean, no one had heard of it. So now the season is rolling. And again, keep in mind, this is 81. This is the first Super Bowl season. We're coming out of the blue. No one had a clue we'd be headed towards Super Bowl. Suddenly, we're winning. They don't want anything rocking the boat. It's like, we need to keep this quiet. And I didn't believe this for years until stuff really started coming out. So now as the season progresses, we're winning. They're treating me weird, right? There's nothing being said, So we're in the weight room working out one day. And John McVay, our general manager, has 3 like business couples, husband-wife couples coming through to tour the facilities. And he's introducing the folks. He goes, yeah, this is Joe Montana, our quarterback, and, Ronnie Lott, defensive back, and Dwight Clark, and this is George Visger, one of our veteran defensive linemen. And he says he's on injury reserve. He had 2 knee operations. And now my hair's, this long because my head was shaved from the surgery. And this woman says, 2? How'd you have 2? I said, no, ma'am, I had knee surgery and brain surgery. And John McVay, our general manager, looks me right in the eye with a look like, keep your mouth shut or you're gone. He says, no brain surgery, I had 2 knee operations. Now, before I kept thinking,
you weren't supposed to say anything to anybody.
Oh, before I just kept thinking it's in my mind. They're not going to cover stuff. I'm on a team. Come on, one for all for one. There's no, and all this stuff they pound into you. We got your back. And I look at him, and I look at her, and I dropped a little F-bomb. I said, yeah, you're effing right. I said, I have 2 brain surgeries. And I walk out of the room, and I walk up to Keith Fonhorst, who was our player rep, the NFL Players Association. And I wasn't real close to a lot of the older guys because I wasn't drafted by the by the Niners. So I was one of these. And plus, you don't get close with a lot of guys because they're gone quick. And sometimes there's a little feeling like, man, same thing when you're injured. You're kind of like a pariah. Guys don't want to be around you. It's almost like they're afraid it's going to be contagious,
Okay.
So you don't even really feel like you're part of the group anymore unless you're some big name. And so I go talk to Keith Fonhorst, our player rep. I said, hey, Keith, I don't know what to do. I said, I just feel like I need to talk to somebody legally. And that's all I said. So he hooks me up with a number to call the Players Association. They hooked me up with some attorney who just freaking looks into my case. He goes, possible malpractice on your knee, malpractice on your brain. And I think someone got to him. He let statutes of limitations run out. So now we're getting ready to leave for the Super Bowl, literally. Mm-hmm. Now, the team went a week earlier. All the injured guys, I think we went for like 6 days, whatever it was. And there was just a few of us. And so I'm getting ready to leave, and we got to take two guests with us. So I took my dad, who was from the Detroit area. We're playing in Detroit, and he hadn't been back in years, and all his family's back there. I said, hey, we can meet some of your family. And I took my other brother, Mel, and both my brothers played college ball, right? So we're getting ready to leave, man. I'm like, what is going on? So my oldest brother, Bob, calls the San Francisco Chronicle, the Examiner, the Oakland Tribune, the Sacramento Bee, all these local papers. And he tells them all this. Hey, I'm a 49er fan. I was in Stanford Hospital earlier this year in the neurosurgery ward. I met this 49er and had brain surgery. He goes, I haven't heard anything about him. Well, of course, for Super Bowls, they look for every stupid story they can write. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They'll write about the color of socks, guys. You know what I mean? They're always looking for stuff. So every newspaper he called, of course, they're going, wow, this is a story. And we're just getting ready to head to the airport to go to Detroit. And Bob says, when you get there, you're going to get inundated with media. And I'm like, good, because I want the story out. I have no idea what I'm headed for, but I know it's not good. I get there. We're there 6 days. In order for any media to find out what hotel or room I'm in, they had to go through the front desk. No one talks to me. Now, while all this is going on, I start ending up in jail. Okay, by 4 months after the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl was end of January. By May of 82, I got arrested 3 times, had never been in trouble in my life. I'd get up, like I said, we go out and have beers every night. All of a sudden, I'd get up in the morning, go to practice. I'd go out front of my apartment, no truck. And I'm calling people, man, I know no one stole it. Did you see me last night? I'd call someone, say, yeah, you were down at the 276 Club. You punched some guy out. You threw a chair through the window. I'm like, totally out of character. I mean, these are the kind of things, when I see guys doing this, I'll destroy them. I mean, I hate guys like that. And I'm hearing all these stories. I'm thinking, yeah, people want me to think I have buddies that would do this to me. Make up stories about Visger. When you see him, he'll think he's got brain damage from surgery, right? And I really thought this was from my buddy Cosgrove, right?